The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars cause it's live. And through the fight game, we can guide ya. Slick talking, putting them in caution. Passing all the guards cause the audio is awesome. What you waiting for? Spread the word, tell a friend. This the podcast where all of the discussion ends. When they start going strike for strike, this the show that'll tell you what you seen in the fight. They ain't playing on the mic, this a welcome to the show. Warm it up for the squad, Haymaker of the bros. I'm a bow wow, you can hear it from the pros. It's Haymaker Combat Sports, time to roll.
Welcome back to Haymaker Combat Sports, powered by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. I am your host, EJ Reed, joined by my fellows, Aaron Admire, Steve Johnson. How's it going, fellas?
Happy Tuesday.
Pretty good. That's what's up. How was y'all's guys' weekend?
It was good. I was busy, man. Friday, sold the Jeep. Saturday, races got rained out, so I went to the Royals game. Sunday, church and shopping. Just had a good time. Today, the first day that it hasn't rained in like a month, and I decided just to stay in tonight.
I don't blame you. Who'd you sell your Jeep to?
I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and some guy that ended up living a couple miles from me, his wife wanted it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I've already ran into him out driving it around. Like the dude's our age, but his wife is like in her 50s. So I don't know if she got that you but she said she wanted it and they bought it. So she kind of runs it, I guess.
Got a little sugar mama.
Think so.
I can't knock his hustle. You went to the Royals game with your lady?
Yeah, the Royals got absolutely shit whipped, man. Like it hit like the 7th inning and it was like 12-4 or something. And I was like, let's just go walk around. And then the Rangers scored again. I was like, let's just make our way to the car. By the time we made it to the car, it was like 15-4 or something.
Wow. I wonder what happened. Was something going on with the pitching or something?
Well, I mean, the Rangers are the world champions from last year, so they still have a pretty decent team left over, but the Royals just weren't putting it together the other night.
Man, be like that sometimes. Aren't the Royals pretty good this season?
Oh, they're doing great this season, man. And luckily, I snuck in a $10 bet on them to win the American League and $10 to win the World Series. So it's looking all right for right now.
How much would that hit for if that happened?
If they win the World Series, it's $1,000, and if they win the American League, it's $200.
That's only for putting $10. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I did it right when the season opened, so I'm still hoping for that. And I already told my girl and my parents if the Royals do go to the World Series, I'm buying tickets because I'm going to bank on them winning and me hitting that bet. So the bet is just going to pay for World Series tickets, hopefully.
Yeah. They put it out there in the universe. Maybe it'll come true. Did you put any bets before the 2015 season?
No, I wasn't much into betting back then.
Man, probably missed out on something. I mean, didn't they go to the World Series the year before that? So I bet it was like the odds weren't that great. They probably.
Yeah. They went to the World Series 2014 and lost to San Francisco, and then in 2015, it was good odds for them to go again because they had almost the same team, and they picked up a few better players. So it was almost a lock they were going to go in 2015 again.
How much tickets looking like this season? I still need to check out a Royals and a Cardinals game.
Like we got front row out in right field, and the tickets were like $65 a piece.
Ain't bad at all.
No,
go ahead.
That wasn't even resellers. That was straight from the website too.
Oh damn! Aren't they talking about a new stadium, or is that just for the Chiefs they're talking about?
No, they're trying to do it for the Royals. John Sherman, the owner of the Royals, he's a billionaire, and he's trying to get the city of Kansas City to buy him a new stadium. And Kansas City voted no. They said, no, you're a billionaire. We're not buying you a new stadium, especially when we're this bad, because they had the worst record last year. And the governor from Kansas has offered him, hey, we'll build you a stadium if you move to the Kansas side. He's still flirting with, I don't know if you know where Liberty is, up towards me. A couple other spots around Kansas City. So they're trying to get something worked out, but I don't think they'll be going anywhere.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want their taxes raised, so they're like, we want a new stadium.
Right. And I mean, I think they said it's only going to cost the average taxpayer like $20 a year or something, which, but when we have a lot of parts of Kansas City have a shitty school system and infrastructure and homelessness. There's a lot of better things people see their tax dollars going towards.
Yeah, I hear
than
that.
A billionaire.
How is the stadium they got right now? Is it pretty old?
It's older, but it's been remodeled several times. I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if in any of the the articles that rank the stadiums, it's always in the top 10.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get out there and check out a game this season. How's your weekend, Steve?
It's pretty good. Just sat back and watched the fights. Wasn't too much to do. I can't recall if it was raining that day or not, but definitely was a chill day.
Yeah, I went into a couple of college baseball games. I went to the Mizzou, South Carolina game. We won the one on Friday, and then they beat the shit out of us on Saturday. I didn't go to the Saturday game. I'm like, since we beat them pretty bad on Friday, I'll see what shakes out Saturday. And if there's a rubber match, I'll go Sunday. And I went on Sunday, and we ended up beating Mizzou. It was a good game. Like, we were down like two or three runs going into the seventh, and they just went on like a scoring frenzy, and they were just hitting bombs out of the stadium. Like me and one other fan sitting next to each other, we're the only ones like cheering because it's Mizzou. So people were looking at us funny, but I had a good time. And it got rained out like it was halfway through. No, they just finished the eighth inning, going into the eighth, and it got a weather delay. So if they would have called the game, it would have reverted back to the score like in the seventh inning or something like that, and it would have been a tie game. So I'm glad they didn't call it. But I went home and just watched the rest once they resumed. So that was fun. Other than that, my weekend's been consumed with rap beefs. Y'all been looking into that? That's been hitting y'all algorithm?
Yeah, man, that's all I get is the Kendrick and Drake stuff. It's crazy, all the back and forth. And then you got the little side beefs, Chris Brown going at Quavo. You got the game coming at Rick Ross. Like, it's madness.
Y'all think both of them went too far?
I don't know about too far. I mean, anything's pretty much open, but it's got a lot of people really thinking about some of the stuff Drake's done. You're on the rap page that I'm on for the Carls, and there's been a lot of debate back and forth on that with our friend Jason Brown and Fabian.
You don't think PDF files taking it too far?
But I mean, if you look at Drake's relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, that's kind of weird. It's really weird. If I mean, I can't even say if the roles were reversed, but like if it was me as a 30-year-old dude messaging a teenager that type of stuff, I would be looked at pretty weird, right?
Very. And I don't know if y'all saw, they pulled up a clip. It was earlier in his career. He was like 23 or so, or 24. He had a 17-year-old on stage, and he was like, "Damn, you thick. I didn't know you were 17." And he's like, "But your breast felt good on me," or something like that.
Yeah. She the girl actually posted a TikTok or something saying, "Hey, I was 17. I wasn't offended by it. He wasn't trying to do anything. It was just part of the show. He didn't pick me out of the crowd. His, bouncers picked me out of the crowd. It was just a fun thing for the show. Like, it wasn't a serious thing." But still, I mean, it's weird.
He said talking about her breath and all of that. It's all like, and it's illegal in a lot of states. 17, that's the age of consent in a few states. In my backwards ass home state, you could be 16 in South Carolina, and that's the age, which is weird. But in California, it's 18. So a lot of states 18.
Yeah, it's different. I think Missouri's 17.
Yeah, it is. Missouri's 17. It's so weird, man. I don't know. What were your whole thoughts on this whole beef, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. What they got? They went back and forth 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah, like 3 or so rounds. I think both of them dropped 4 songs total. This whole thing.
And it seems like, from opinion, it seems like Drake's losing.
Yeah, that's the consensus at the point.
Over defending in that last one.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, waved a white flag, and they're saying if you go on a defense like that, you're basically waving a white flag.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the tweets that came out from Metro Boomin? Some of the old stuff he said.
Yeah, I saw that, but it was like AJ number the number, but they did their research. You know, the internet sleuths, and he was 16, so he could have been talking about an older woman. You know.
Right. So, and somebody said something like he said something about a 13-year-old, and he said, "I'll beat it in court" or something. I don't know. Kind of some weird stuff being said, but and then of course the Rick Ross, the famous line from one of them songs that he made was,
talking about Molly.
Yeah.
Molly
I gave her Molly. She ain't even know it. I took her home and enjoyed it. Didn't even know it.
That was definitely. I remember when that came out. I was in Florida. That was cringe, man. I took it off my playlist. I was like, this is too creepy to be riding around too.
Yeah, I think out of all the rap disses that have went back and forth, I think Chris Brown dissing Quavo has been the hardest one.
Yeah, I didn't expect Chris Brown to get down like that. I wonder if somebody helped him with it. Either way, R&B dude getting down like that is definitely an interesting fold in this whole saga that everybody's been coming out. Then I saw Metro Boomin was doing the BBL Drizzy challenge, and who a bunch of SoundCloud rappers are getting on it. He said whoever does the best disc gets like $10,000 and a free beat. So I went down that rabbit hole last night, and some people have some pretty good stuff. So
yeah, like everybody's getting involved. Shawn Michaels even got in and said that he'll put Kendrick and Drake in a ring.
I saw that too because Kendrick was talking about sweet chin music in this song. Yeah, man, not looking good for Drake. Kendrick ended up making a banger out of it. You got all the clubs going up. So, I mean, I think Drake just needs to sit this one out and just ignore it and then just go back to making music.
I think
never happened.
I think Drake's he's not cancelable, and he can go sell out arenas tomorrow. Like, this isn't going to hurt him at all. He's basically indestructible at this point. You can't take him down unless you R. Kelly him and got some videos and some pictures of him doing some whack shit. You ain't gonna shut Drake down.
Yeah, I was definitely entertained, and probably after this, I'll probably end up going back down another rabbit hole because it's all in my algorithm. Hopefully, it'll be out of my algorithm by this weekend. But let's get into some real fights that happened this past weekend. UFC 301 going down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And like we talked about on the previous show, wasn't really a lot of buzz going into this card, but did y'all see the hype kind of pick up going into Saturday, or was it pretty much the same? I'll start with you, Admire.
It did. I mean, once they had the weigh-ins and stuff, the hype kind of started picking up and everything, and I was like, okay, this is going to be even though it's not people that we're very familiar with, it is to the locals. So, I mean, it was good for them, and the hype started to pick up. So, turned out all right, I think.
Steve, did you get to watch any the pre-fight stuff, or because I didn't get to see any of it, like the weigh-ins or anything like that, or anything hyping it up
before the card?
Yeah, like any of the press conference or anything.
Come to speak of it, usually I get a peek, even on my algorithm on social, YouTube and stuff, and did not catch it. I did not catch it, and I know maybe to me, Pantoja doesn't stand out, or the flyweight division, so to speak, doesn't stand out so much right now, but definitely caught the card, but didn't see anything previously.
Yeah, so I might say he saw it pick up some. So, but let's get into the actual results of this card. I'm just gonna go through all of the prelims, early prelims, and the preliminary card. Flyweight, you had Alessandro Costa defeating Kevin Borjas by TKO. Ismail Bonfim defeating Vic Pichel by decision in the lightweight division. Women's flyweight, we had Dion Barboza defeating Ernesta Kurakaite. In the lightweight, we had Mauricio Ruffy defeating Jamie Malarkey by TKO. And then in the other prelims, we had Drakkar Close defeating Joaquin Silva in the lightweight division. Maitabek Orobai defeating Elvis Brenner in the lightweight division by unanimous decision. Women's strawweight, Yasmin Usendo defeating Carolina Kovacevic by decision. And then the featured fight in that card is Jordan Brito defeating Jack Shore by TKO's doctor stoppage. I'm getting to that in a second. I know, Admar, you were out and about. Steve, you said you got to see the Carolina Kovacevic fight.
No, I didn't. Everything above that I've seen, but I did get to see the Drakkar Close one. I do remember seeing that one.
Yeah, it was overall, it was a pretty underwhelming prelims. I think in that first fight, or was it the Malarkey fight? I'm pretty sure it was the opening fight. Alessandro Costa leg kicked him to hell and eventually got a TKO. So I thought that was interesting. But that feature fight, you got to see that feature fight with Brito and Shore, right, Steve?
You said Vitor?
It's the feature fight in the featherweight division. Brito defeated Jack Shore by that doctor stoppage.
I don't even remember seeing that one.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw this on the internet, Admire. This was a weird stoppage. So Jack Shore, he got a cut on his leg.
Oh, I saw it. I saw that. Yeah. Yep. I saw it.
So Jack Shore got a cut on his leg, and they stopped the fight to check on it. And I don't know what the medical requirements to be a doctor in Brazil are, but they ended up stopping it because the doctor said Shore's got a broken leg. And after the fight, I think Shore's dad maybe reported this, but from the hospital, they were like, nah, he just had a deep cut. It wasn't a broken leg. Definitely a weird situation.
I just pulled it up. I mean, it doesn't look like a bad cut at all. I mean, he got kicked hard, but I mean, nothing out of the ordinary.
That's happened before in a fight. I'm trying to bring it up in my head, but that's definitely happened before in the UFC. Somebody was leg kicking somebody and their leg exploded open and it just started bleeding. I just can't remember which fight.
I think it happened to Cowboy Cerrone once.
You may be right.
That must have been a while ago then if that happened.
Mm-hmm. I definitely significantly remember it happening before. But like you said, what the doctors, what they qualify and probably don't want to be responsible for in Brazil, they said, I guess it looked bad to them. And when they said broken leg, it made me cringe when I first saw it. But because I didn't know if a bone was sticking out, but I'm like, if a bone was sticking out, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be doing what he was doing before they stopped the action. So I thought that was crazy.
So, Admire, what do you think about a doctor kind of prematurely or not having all of the facts and just saying somebody has a broken leg like that?
I mean, if it's something like that, when it was a pretty close fight, I mean, the striking was pretty close from what I understand. You kind of have to run it back. As far as the doctors and stuff, that's where it gets tricky. I mean, my conspiracy theory mind's like, what if a doctor's in on it? What if they bet on it? What if they're, connected to somebody? They could call anything, especially I think they should have two doctors there and both doctors should have to agree on it.
That's actually a pretty good idea. Because if I'm not mistaken, Brito is from Brazil and Jack Shore is a Welsh fighter, so it may have been, like you said, it could have been some bias over there. A Brazilian doctor, maybe want to call it early, might have put some money on it. He just has pride in his country, wants to see his countrymen win and call it prematurely. Maybe, like you said, they should fly in another doctor from a different country. It doesn't have to be a U.S. doctor, but from a neutral country or something.
Right, something like that. And you know, I didn't get to see that fight. I just pulled it up and seen his leg real quick. Did the ref stop the fight and say, "Hey, come check this out," or why was the leg checked?
Yeah, that's what the ref started to let the doctor check it out.
But I mean, how many people have we just seen bloody and battered, and the fight's never been stopped to have a doctor check on him? It's kind of weird that a ref would stop it for a little blood on the leg.
He was laboring. If I'm not, I was watching the fight, but I was cooking at the same time. I think he was laboring it, if I'm not mistaken. You saw it, right, Steve?
Yeah, I did. I can't remember if he was laboring it, but I first took it as a skin broken from getting the leg kick at first.
Yeah, I think he might have been favoring it. I have to go back and watch again, but I think he was favoring it a little bit, Amar. That's why it wasn't just like they were banging and he was perfectly fine. He's like, "Oh, stop!" That would have been really sketchy if he did that. But
right, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll go back and watch it just to see. But I mean, there's a lot of injuries that happen that we can't even see, that they don't start, or even that they can see. Think about Uriah Faber's leg when Jose Aldo kicked the shit out of it. I mean, his leg, that was worthy of a doctor stoppage. His leg was like purple the whole fight. So I mean, to me, something like that would be worse than this cut and limping on it. Of course it's gonna hurt. He got kicked in the leg and it busted open.
Yeah, I think if a doctor misdiagnosis something like that, it should be overturned to no contest at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, especially since he did go to the doctor and it wasn't broke or anything, like a no contest, let him run it back, something.
Yeah, definitely a weird finish to that one. But let's hop into this main card, fellas. In the middleweight division, to kick it off, we had Caio Borrello defeating Paul Craig by KO. And all of us predicted this fight correctly. This was an interesting fight. I don't know. I feel like Paul Craig was trying to lure him into going into the ground, and Borrell wasn't having any of that. And he stood his ground and ended up knocking him out. I think he flatlined. I think he went. Didn't he go face first, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he caught him a couple times and he started stumbling back, and then he couldn't back up no more, hit the cage, and he landed another hard one, and he just kind of face planted from there.
Yeah, so like I said, all three of us predicted that to happen. What were your thoughts on this one, Amar?
Yeah, you could tell that Paul Craig just wanted to get it to the ground. I mean, I think he shot like 6-7 times for a takedown, couldn't get it. Was trying to bait him in to come to the ground somehow. And, Borrello is big and strong. And I mean, the knockout proved it, that he's, got heavy hands. He landed a lot of good shots throughout the fight. It happened about halfway through. So, we all kind of seen it coming. We kind of knew what Paul Craig was going to do going into it. So nothing surprising, but I mean, it was a pretty cool knockout.
What about that in the beginning of the second round when he hit that flying knee? I feel like that was pretty crazy too.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Steve, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Kyle thought I thought he would do what I think he would do. Paul Craig, it's crazy when the commenters try to say what they've been doing since the last fight. They were saying Paul Craig worked on his striking. And if we were looking at this like an EA Sports game, I mean, I see his striking, but his head movement was on like 30. Of course, he kept his head up and didn't move off the center line. I think the commenters were saying that. And of course, eventually Caio got the knockout. And like you said, eventually you saw Paul Craig seeing his striking wasn't working. And, I think he even tried to pull guard a few times. Like I said, I don't know how many Paul Craig has in him as far as just a person that may be a gatekeeper. I don't know why certainly why he has that gatekeeping status, but I think he's about to even lose that if he probably loses one more.
Yeah, he's lost 4 of his last 5. So
How old is Paul Craig nowadays, man?
Paul Craig is 36 years old.
So he's not young in the MMA game, but he's not like in his 40s. I mean, like y'all said, he's a gatekeeper at this point. If he wants to keep fighting, then hats off to him. But only thing, well, I mean, you can make a living. The only thing you can benefit off it is just keep making money. But you also be losing brain cells if you keep losing like that because he got slept. Yeah. So
Let's see. Let's see how much he made for this fight. See if I can find that real quick. Just see if it's even worth it for him to stick around.
I can see him getting like 90 to show probably. If that he's been around for a while.
Well,
they don't have the payouts available yet.
There we go. Paul Craig, $16,000.
That's it? Nah.
No, that must be the payouts for they get for wearing the UFC gear and stuff.
Sponsorship.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's another payouts. Let's see what this one says they made. Usually it's pretty available.
Maybe because it just happened this past weekend. Maybe it's not available yet.
Yeah, I'll keep digging, but I don't see anything.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if he's not making 6 figures to show, then I feel like which country he's from? He's from Scotland. I feel like he'd probably make more money doing something in his home country. Not a lot of MMA fighters there, and not lose brain cells and have to put your body to training.
CTE.
But that's true. We hadn't seen it yet because I guess the sport is so young. We hadn't seen a lot of fighters really punch drunk and loopy like that. I guess you can see it a little bit in like a Chuck Liddell though.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like we'll see more stuff like that come out as the decades go by a little bit more. But I don't know. It was a exciting way to kick off the main card. But let's talk about this next one. In the middleweight division, we had Michelle Pereira defeating Ihor Potieria by submission guillotine. And out of the get-go, we know Pereira to be a wild guy. He just blitzed this guy and he dropped him early with a straight. Then he did this crazy ass backflip like he always tends to do in these fights that may or may have not have been illegal. And then he choked him out with the standing guillotine, John Jones style. I'll let you kick this one off, Amar. What are your thoughts on this one?
Dude, Michelle is the most exciting fighter. You never know what this dude's going to do. But I will say what you just mentioned. I think it was illegal. I think he landed a knee to the head when he did that backflip, and they even mentioned it on the broadcast. I think Ihor would have no problem going to the athletic commission and getting that overturned. Dana White didn't believe it because he gave him, a $50,000 bonus for the night for his performance. So I don't think Dana White would reward somebody for winning in an illegal way. But to me, man, it looked like that knee just cracked that dude right in the head. But then, of course, like you said, he John Jones styled him, choked him out standing up, and dude did tap. But between tapping and the ref saying it's over, dude went out cold and got dropped.
Definitely. Steve, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, crazy fight. He did the flip. I had to look at it again. But when I looked at it, it looked like it hit his shoulder, neck area. But it might have hit his head because I have to look at those type of things over. As far as he did do a John Jones, choked him standing up. And it's crazy about how those chokes are because he had enough time to tap. He let go. And he still dropped backwards and passed out. I don't know if y'all saw that. I thought that was a good submission win as far as the theatrics after he choked him out. Like I said, Pierre, he's a beast, and he always brings the entertainment. I think we need to start seeing him fight somebody known or in the top or close 10.
Okay.
I think he's big enough. I think he would, if he would have a challenge, he would be big enough to give a somebody to challenge him a challenge also. I'm looking for big things for Pierre, especially that aerial he tried to do over Eeyore was crazy. So definitely looking forward for Pierre.
So
yeah, he's coming in at number 13 now.
yeah,
in the middleweight.
We'll get into that in a second. But going back to what Amar said, and I think me and Steve are on the same page with this one. I don't think there's enough evidence to say that knee was illegal. If you look at the replay, look like Steve said, look, he got the shoulder. It wasn't like they did it from multiple angles, and from all the angles they did, you can't decisively say that he hit the head. I don't know if you get a chance to look at it again recently.
I'm going to save it to my phone to where I can zoom in and just see exactly what happened. I'm going to take a look at it that way.
So if there's not enough evidence to say that he did, even though that was very dangerous on his part because it could have resulted in it, I just say you got, like you said, Dana White gave him the bonus. It looked like if you look at it and they slowed it down, look, he caught that shoulder, even though it was dangerously close to hitting the head, and it might have hit the head, but the angles did the dude say anything afterwards? I feel like if he got illegally hit, he would have complained.
Not that I heard. And I'm sure Dana White did his due diligence and told somebody, hey, watch that back, make sure he didn't hit him in the head before I give him $50,000.
Yeah, but Pereira, he had to be careful in doing stuff like I mean, we're entertained by it. I think it's pretty crazy and no like good reason to do that, but to go do a backflip, like what kind of real damage can you do? I guess unless you illegally knee him in the head with doing a black flip, like a moonsault, like in wrestling, pro wrestling or something like that. I don't get it.
Every time I've seen somebody do that and it's a foul, it's always almost accidentally the privates. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah.
Never seen somebody hit somebody in the head off a backflip yet.
Yeah, it's interesting, but going back to what Amar was touching on, he's number 13 now, so I'm guessing both of y'all think he should up his competition and go with somebody that's ranked this next fight, right?
Well, the person we just talked about right before him, Cal Barallo, they're ranked together in middleweight. They're both on a really long winning streak. That makes the most sense, but if I was the UFC, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to tear either one of their streaks apart, because somebody's got to lose there.
What about Roman?
Yeah, I could see that, or somebody like a Hermanson, or I think Paulo Costa's got a fight coming up. I was going to say that would be a good one.
You just skipped over Hamzat. Is he the boogeyman in the division or something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid to throw anybody against him. I mean, especially a guy like Cal or Michelle. They're both on a hot streak, man. Really long win streak. I think Pierre, I think he's on like an 8 fight. I think Barallo's like 6 fights, in the UFC. So I don't want to see either one of them get knocked back down when they just made it up this high and they put a streak together.
Interesting. Well, what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I would say try to push one forward so you can keep their streaks and maybe give somebody a 1 or 2 steps ahead of their rank fight, and then maybe push one up into past maybe into an 8 rank spot fight. And kind of separate them, because I think those are entertaining, special people that you can bring up in the middleweight to make it interesting.
So you saying top 8 then?
I would say one of them try to separate them. Try to push one up, and then not so much hold somebody back or hold them or try to give them a fight 1 or 2 above his. And maybe they'll do something separated
They definitely got their options, and I think this may be Pereira's first time cracking the rankings in the middleweight. At least I think he was ranked in welterweight when he's back in welterweight, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and do research, but like I said, he's exciting. So I'm thinking they're going to want to keep him against strikers as well. I don't think they want to put him up against a wrestler and see how far he could go, because he's not that old. He's like, what, 31 or so? Even though he looks like he's 40 something.
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see them putting him up there against another striker, like you said, and letting him headline like a fight night. I mean, being such an exciting fighter, put that on a free card and just let the world see him.
Yeah, I could see them doing that. Especially, I think he's based in Vegas now, maybe.
Yep, he is.
So, yeah, let him do one of those fight nights since he lives there already. I wouldn't be mad at that. Let's get into this next fight, fellas. In the light heavyweight division, we had Anthony Lionheart Smith turning back the hands of time and getting the victory over Vitor Petrino by submission. And none of us picked Anthony Smith. We all counted him out. But in round one, Smith tried to fend off Petrino with that jab, but Petrino was trying to throw everything he had, and those punches that he was throwing at Smith, I thought he was trying to take his head off. And then Smith got him in that front face lock. Then Petrino made a big mistake by doing a double leg takedown. And after that, Smith was like, "Thank you for your neck," and then just got him in that guillotine and subbed him like instantly. What were your thoughts on this one, Amar?
Yeah, Petrino was throwing hard hands, man. He was. I was like, man, eventually one of those is going to connect, and Anthony Smith's going to be out cold. But when they tied up like that, Anthony Smith got his arm around his head. Petrino kind of went for tried to slam him a little bit, and Anthony Smith held on. So, I mean, shout out to him. We all counted him out, and he's back in the wins.
Steve, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, crazy fight. Petrino, he was fighting like he was trying to get that number 10 spot, that 5 spot jump.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Anthony Smith was going to get taken out of there. And like you said, he took, like Anthony Smith explained also, he did a veteran move, exposed his neck, and you can tell the expression on his face that it was tight. He put everything in it. And you could tell Petrino after the fight, he was disappointed and knew he got caught. So, yeah, I counted him out. It's always when I lose faith in some fighters, they always prove me wrong. And that's what Anthony Smith did. So congratulations to him.
So Anthony Smith, with this win, he jumped up a spot and he's back in the top 10. He's been around the block, a former title contender, lost to John Jones in controversial fashion. He still believes he has another title run in him. Before this fight, he got brutally beat by Khalil Roundtree, but he got a win over Spann before that. Lost to Walker, lost to Ankalaev. So he's pretty much faced everybody in the top 10. I don't think he's faced Hill yet. So what do you see for Smith next, Amar?
Has he fought Johnny Walker? He did. He lost to Johnny Walker, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, you can't, just because he gets a win, you can't really throw him back up in there in the mix. Like you said, he's faced a lot of these guys. Has he fought Dominic Reyes?
I don't even know how Dominic Reyes is still ranked. He's number 14. I don't think those guys faced each other. Let the former losers against John Jones face each other. I wouldn't be mad at that, but if I'm Smith, I wouldn't take that fight.
Yeah, that's quite a drop for Smith. I mean, you almost have to let him run it back with somebody who came off of a recent loss.
Well, he's beaten Ozdemir in the past. I don't know if he would want to run it back with that.
Yeah, I mean, they fought like 6 years ago. So, I mean, I think that's enough of a time gap to run that one back. You could do that one.
He could try his luck and try to do the Krylov fight. I don't know if that'll end well for him, but no.
Yeah, and
Number
I mean,
10 versus number 6. I don't know if Krylov got something on the books yet, though.
or Jamal Hill. I mean,
But isn't Jamal facing Khalil? I feel like I got to see how that shakes out first.
oh, are they? I didn't know they ended up making that for sure. I heard about it, but I didn't know that it was signed.
So yeah, wasn't that signed, Steve? That Hill versus
I think
Khalil.
I think so. I can't remember if he actually. I think he tweeted
Yeah.
something or social media it.
Yeah, UFC 303.
That's a quick turnaround from losing. If you're Jamal Hill, I believe that. But when you get knocked out, you need to take at least 6 months off at the very least. But I mean, I'm sure they're probably gonna throw the bag at him. So that's probably why he had that quick turnaround. And I'm looking at Krylov. I don't think he has anything on the books. He just fought. Well, he didn't just fight. He fought last time he fought. Maybe he's injured because he hasn't fought since February last year. So I don't know. Maybe Krylov is hurt, but yeah, maybe you might be right. Admire and maybe that Ozdemir fight. They haven't fought in 6 years. That might be his best bet right now. If he wants to fight up or he's have to fight down, maybe at Minifield. They haven't fought yet. Like if he fights down, he doesn't want to go too far down the rankings like a Reyes.
Right.
Where he would like maybe fall out of the top 15 if he lost the Reyes. So I don't know. I mean, I don't see him getting a title fight anytime soon. So if he wants to just be a gatekeeper for now and maybe hope people fall in front of him, he might be like a last minute replacement for a title fight. But I don't know. I don't see it going well if Pierre's the champion by the time he gets back up there. So, but yeah, hats off to Anthony Smith for kind of turning back the hands of time and getting the win. But let's talk about another guy who turned back the hands of time. The co-main event, we had Jose Aldo defeating Jonathan Martinez by unanimous decision in the bantamweight division. And early on, Martinez was working those leg kicks, and both guys landed a few shots, but it was kind of like a cat and mouse game. Nobody really wanted to throw that first round, and nobody really put their foot on the gas. And then round 2, Martinez clinched early, but no action when he was clinching, and the refs broke it up. And that's when the pace picked up some, and both guys landed nice shots. But I think I gave that round to Aldo slightly. You know, it was a good back and forth round. And then round 3, I was surprised by this. Aldo just looked quicker to the punch. He looked like he was the faster fighter, and he was landing clean shots, throwing straight down the middle. Then he hurt him with that left hook towards the end of the round and had him hurt. I thought Aldo could put his foot on the gas a little more. He could have finished it, but he went for the takedown for some reason and then just cruised to the win. Maybe he's just trying to play it safe, but for the most part, Aldo looked good. What were your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Yeah, man. I was kind of one of the people that had Aldo counted out. You know, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, me and you picked the other guy, and Steve picked Aldo, so we both.
Yeah, and I mean, Aldo looked fast, and he looked good. He was throwing heavy hands. He was back to throwing the leg kicks. It seems like he kind of slacked off on throwing leg kicks the last few times we've seen him. Like he mixed it up real well. Aldo looked really good in this fight. Martinez didn't look bad by any means, but I was blown away to see Aldo come back like this. So, and I already have a fight in my head picked out for his next one.
Hold that thought. What do you think about this fight, Steve?
It was a good fight. Aldo was getting his feet wet, so to speak. And Martinez, he's no slacker. You know, he's a pretty good fighter himself. I think he had a good streak going on. And Aldo looked sharper. You almost get mesmerized because nobody does boxing like Aldo and MMA. I think, you know, feints, pivoting over, pivoting after the punch, and dig into the body with his what does he do? That digging shovel hook he does.
Yeah.
Devastating. And I enjoy watching Aldo fight, especially when he's on the winning end, when he starts getting warmed up. Like Admire said, he didn't throw his kicks, but although the kicks that he did throw, oh my goodness, you can tell he can whip one out and check somebody with one instead of throwing multiple to get somebody's respect. You can tell that Martinez felt it as soon as he threw like one. I think he probably only threw like 3. And I think what they said in the commentators, they said the reason why is I think Martinez was a southpaw, and I think every time Martinez switched up, that's when he fired that kickoff. So he can only get it off in that orthodox stance, and maybe he would have thrown more kicks. But definitely looking forward for Aldo, and definitely has a ranking spot.
He's ranked number 8 now. He went from not ranked to ranked number 8, but he beat a guy who was ranked number 12. So what made you have so much confidence in Aldo coming into this fight, Steve? Was it just nostalgia, or did you have some intel on that? Because I don't know if a lot of people saw this coming for him to look that fast and whatnot.
It was a nostalgia and how he left off his last fight. He was actually going at it with Merab. It was just he was tougher. I think people count him out, but we forget who Merab is right now because he's a rising star. We just haven't seen enough of his template of his fights to correlate things together. But I always thought before he left, Aldo was sharp. And although Martinez is a good fighter, I think his veteranship and his skills that are still up to par with these young guys with this boxing, I thought he was gonna knew he was gonna take him out.
So even though Aldo did look good, he still got a lot of mileage on him. Admire, you say you think you know what's next for him. What you have in mind?
I want to see him fight Henry Cejudo.
Huh? Why?
I think their styles. I think it would make for a great fight because even though we don't see Aldo on his back a lot, I think Cejudo could take him down, but Aldo could make it ugly. And Cejudo's a great stand-up fighter too. Mix that in with Aldo striking. I think that could highlight a fight night as well. Aldo and Cejudo. I don't think they've ever fought. They fought a lot of the same people. In my mind, that's a banger of a fight.
I think if they did go that route, I wouldn't have that on a fight night unless it's an ABC card main event. I think I would put that on a pay-per-view co-main event probably.
Yeah, it's definitely it could co-main it could headline a fight night. It could co-main. I think that's a real good fight.
Steve, what do you think could be next for Aldo?
From what I think I remember from watching the pay-per-view, I think they were talking about, I think Martinez was a replacement for Cruz. Cruz was supposed to fight Aldo. And I think for years they were gonna they've been wanting to set up that fight for years, if I'm not mistaken.
Is Cruz still a fighter at this point? I know he's still ranked. He's ranked number 12, but he's more so on the commentating. Is he even still have interest in fighting at this point?
His last fight was 2 years ago when he lost to Vera. I mean, it seems like he's always injured. Like if you look at Cruz's career, there's multiple 2-year layoffs. There's a 4-year layoff. Like he stays ranked. He stays ranked, but like he doesn't fight.
Exactly. So I don't know about that Cruz fight. Is that something that you would want to see personally, Steve?
No, and y'all answer my question when y'all are talking. He was number 12. So I thought, and I was wondering why Aldo jumped up to number 8 and who he replaced. I was assuming it was Cruz, but I guess it's not.
He knocked. I think he knocked a few people down the rankings. That's what happened when he jumped back in the rankings. There's a lot of people that were ranked at like from 8 to 9. They just went down a spot. Besides Martinez, he jumped down 2 spots, and Bautista stayed the same. So that's what happened as far as that goes.
I think Aldo's a horrible matchup for Dominic Cruz if they decided to make that. Cruz has always had knee problems, and Aldo's going to kick the shit out of his leg.
Yeah,
most likely. I mean, I know you'd be excited for that Cejudo fight. I don't like that fight right now. Maybe down the line. I say you put Aldo in there with a Figueiredo or a Song Yudong. I'd be excited for either one of those fights, especially the Figueiredo fight.
Yeah.
The Song Yudong fight would be really good too, for sure.
Before Cejudo, because I think Cejudo would probably try to wrestle him. But Cejudo has been kind of getting a little bit too confident in that stand-up, so he may try to stand up with him. But Cejudo was smart. He'd go back to his bread and butter and try to wrestle Aldo. But Figueiredo just fought at 300, so 301. That's only a month apart. Let them rest up and fight in the fall. I would like that fight. But I don't know if they want to fight each other. Both because they're both Brazilians. I don't know, but that'd be interesting. Some people, I mean, flyweight's still a new division. I think everybody would probably say that Mighty Mouse is the greatest flyweight in UFC history, but Figueiredo had a nice little run, and Aldo was that monster at featherweight. You'd have kind of like a meeting of generations, so to speak, if Figueiredo and Aldo fought each other. One guy coming up and one guy that went down. So
yeah,
I'd definitely be interested in seeing that. But let's see what they do with him in the future. Like, he's no spring chicken. So if he wants to make one more run, would you want to see him against your boy Sean O'Malley if Aldo could reel off like 2 wins or so?
I think that would actually be a good fight. I think they have really similar styles. They got that sniper style, a lot of accuracy, a lot of combinations and stuff. I think you wouldn't see any ground fighting in an Aldo Sean O'Malley fight. I think you'd just see a stand-up chess match. I think that would be a real good fight.
Steve?
Definitely, I can see it. Definitely be interesting. O'Malley, a sniper. As we see him now, Aldo, a combo setter. Definitely be interesting. And we forget Aldo is no sucker at the ground, man. He's got amazing takedown defense and can get up. He's just got he it looked bad against Merab, I guess. He couldn't get up. That's how good Merab is as of where he is with his skills.
Yeah, they say he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Aldo is. I'm not sure where he got his belt from, probably somewhere in Brazil. So I don't know the credibility of his coaches. But when you think of Aldo, you don't think a lot of like a offensive jiu-jitsu. He's more so, like you said, on the defense, his takedown defense, and able to get up off the ground. So I'd be curious to see like him get a submission. I don't even know if has he even gotten a submission in the UFC. I don't think so. Thinking off the top of my head.
Let's see.
I'm glancing at it. I don't see any submission for him in the UFC. And he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's interesting. All of them by TKO or decision.
He has 1 win by submission.
And when was that?
I'm gonna have to scroll way back to find that. His 3rd fight ever back in 2005.
Yeah, and that was in Shudo, Brazil. That's what I'm saying. He's never gotten, even in the WEC, he's never gotten a submission. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu, so that's a interesting tidbit of information. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with Aldo. Fellas, let's jump into this main event in the UFC flyweight division for the UFC flyweight championship. We had Alessandro Pantoja defeating Steve Erceg. by unanimous decision. So early off in that first round, Pantoja rushed in like a madman a few times, but Usyk defended it well. And a little more than 2 minutes left, Pantoja got the takedown and controlled him on the ground and on the feet in the clinch for the rest of the round. Then round two, Pantoja went back to the clinch and Usyk shook it off, but Pantoja was able to get the takedown. And then late in that round, Usyk clipped Pantoja and started to get in the rhythm before Pantoja got that other takedown in that round. So this was like a lot of back and forth in a lot of these rounds, and a lot of them were hard to call. And then when you go to round three, that was that real ugly round. Usyk was landing those nasty elbows, but Pantoja made it ugly with his grappling, and that was another toss-up. And then round four, I think we could probably say that Usyk got that one and looked like Pantoja was out of gas. Usyk was stinging him on the feet, got him with some nice combos. And then round five was another rare round. Usyk was getting the best of him on his feet, but then Pantoja got the takedown, and that's where a lot of people thought that Usyk lost his fight when Pantoja got that takedown. See, like, I'm confused with these new rules because Pantoja got the takedown, but he wasn't doing any damage. And they basically said that it was a swing round, and Pantoja was able to get the win. So it was very weird back and forth fight that could have went either way. Wasn't dominant on Pantoja's part, in my opinion. And what are your thoughts on this one, Meyer?
Yeah, pretty much exactly how you described it's how it went down. I think Pantoja, he landed all them takedowns, but I would say half of them he didn't do anything with. Usyk even got a sweet, like escape on one of them and reversed it. I learned more in this fight about Usyk than Pantoja. When we did the pre-show, I was talking about how Usyk was ranked number 10. He was probably going to get beat. He didn't deserve to be up there. Dude's a gamer, man. He was in that whole fight going against a champ that I thought was just going to take him out. I think that this is going to be a big learning experience for Usyk, and he's going to be a problem in the flyweight division. I think we'll see him fight for the belt again one of these days. I think he looked great, and that third round, it could have went kind of either way, and that could have got the decision for him if they didn't invest so much in these takedowns. Being they were in Brazil, part of jiu-jitsu is taking down and being on the ground. Maybe the judges thought that way a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if the judge were even Brazilian, but I'm just kind of at a place where I'm like, man, takedowns should not be rewarded if you don't go anywhere with it.
I agree. What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, remembering all the rounds and all the action in which rounds, it's blurry. But from what I remember, especially that first round, Steve Usyk, he was very much sharper on the stand-up, catching him to the punch, overreaching and extending, trying to run after him and then getting tagged. And then, that leaves me Steve Usyk in my mind, and I'm trying to remember round. But then after that, I just see it was a competitive fight that I thought Pantoja was going to dominate. And I just see Usyk was getting with him and combating with him every step of the way. Like you guys said, I think he's going to be a problem. I think that fight could have went either other way. Maybe we still got to get out of the era of a takedown, mean something when nothing was done. Maybe that's what won the fight is takedowns. Maybe that means a lot in their eyes over there. That's one thing, man. If you're the other, not hometown, make sure you're not in Brazil or the UK. Golly.
Yeah.
Pantoja, I think he got this one, but I gotta look at the flyweight. But definitely, if Steve Usyk gets back in there, definitely could easily win it the other way. I would like to see who's in the rankings next to see who should do what and who should Steve Usyk should fight.
We'll touch on that in a little bit, but Admire. So if they're telling us, the commentators are telling us that judges are focusing more so on damage, and then you see an outcome like this, where pretty much that fifth round is probably the swing round. Do you think it was some home cooking involved or something like that as far as the judging goes?
I mean, it could be. I got the scorecards here. I don't know if I can read them to see who they were, but hey, I can't read who the judges actually were. But it just, I don't know. It seems more now than even before that these takedowns are getting rewarded. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't before, but when you have a guy like Ursig that was landing a lot of the harder shots, it looked like, to me, just looking at it, looked like the better fighter, but he got taken down a few times. He shouldn't really be penalized for that unless he got dominated on the ground. I don't even think that Pantoja even went for submissions, did he? I don't even think he attempted a submission. So what were you doing taking him down that many times, but you didn't even try a submission? You know?
Yeah.
You were holding him down to avoid the stand up, which I think says more about Ursig. You know, he did want to fight Ursig on the feet, but he didn't want to try to submit him. He was just buying time, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me. I think there needs to be a shift.
Well, what kind of shift though?
Just in the judging, they should have. We've talked about it before. There should be some explanation around why you awarded them the round, not just your score was a 10 for them that round. Make them fill out notes. Why? I just thought that, the shots weren't as hard and the takedown was more valuable in that time, or just something to explain why they awarded that. Because like we're talking about the round 3, I mean, it could have really went either way, and it could have been a whole different decision.
Yeah, but with every state having an athletic commission, and then you fight overseas too, you think that they could get on the same page as far as making something unified? I don't think so, just because all the money involved.
Okay, so they always tell the rules at the beginning of every UFC event. So it says that it's scored on what? Striking, octagon control, and damage.
They even say that anymore? I know they used to say that.
They used to, for sure. I thought they still did, but what part of those 3 is takedowns? Is that octagon control?
Basically,
but if you don't do anything with it, like we've seen multiple fights where the guy on the bottom's landed more strikes than the guy on top. But even though he got taken down, they'll score that for the guy on top. So I don't know. Whenever it doesn't go anywhere, I don't mind ground fighting at all, as long as there's something happening and somebody's trying to progress, somebody's shooting for subs, somebody's trying to get the damage to get them out of there, not just taking them down for the sake of, I don't want to stand with this guy, so I'm going to take him down and lay on him.
Yeah. If you're not working for ground and pound or sub, then we're trying to see who wins the fight, not who could survive and not take damage.
Right. If they do something like, hey, once the takedown happens, you have 30 seconds to try to damage or submit or try to pass or something. You can't stay in the same position for 30 seconds without something happening.
And you going to add to that, Steve?
I agree. I think it's 3 things. Doing a significant strike within a certain amount of time, transition, or submission. Those 3 things, if you're not doing those 3 things within a 30-second span, I think 30 seconds is kind of lagging the fight. Maybe 20 seconds. I think that would put a pep in people's step. it wouldn't make people wouldn't stall. And then, we can see how this can change the game the deeper we go into championship rounds, man. I bet you that would change the whole MMA game right there.
Right.
I I somewhat agree, but then you'll have like the jiu-jitsu specialists be like,
You're
y'all
right.
are going against us because it may take more than 30 seconds to set something up. But then how could you know though if like either they're trying to set something up or they're just trying to rest down there? 'Cause I think they should definitely be trying to progress to something else. Maybe it should, I don't know. I know if they put like a hard rule on that, people would complain, even though I'd be all for keeping the action going. Like if you're not trying to progress, because sometimes you'll see them in the same position. They'll try to be moving, I guess, or progressing, but they can't just because the person on the bottom doesn't want them to, is they're on the defense, so they can't progress.
Right. But even if they're trying to progress, that's fine. Don't stand them up. But if they're not trying to even progress anywhere or do anything, then stand them up. Like Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen took everybody down. But look how active he was once he got them down. He was always trying to box their ears, slap them, punch them, hitting them, going down low, like just doing something. A lot of the jiu-jitsu fighters wouldn't have this problem. A lot of them do try to progress, but even Pantoja has done great on the ground before, but this fight, just this particular one, it didn't seem like he could get anywhere and was doing much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a solution to it, but that is a good idea for maybe if they had like a 30-second window. But like I said, not everybody probably be in agreement with that. But I don't know. Like at least have a rule saying that if you do that, you're not going to get any points. We're not going to give you the round if you're not doing anything. And I thought that's what they were training towards because they've been focusing more so on damage. But we saw Pantoja was given that last round. But I don't know. It was a close fight. If you're Pantoja and all eyes on you, you probably want to get a dominant win, but you got the win. What do y'all see next for Pantoja off the top? Just looking at it off a glimpse. I start for you, Admire.
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, he's got a lot of options. He is the champ. He's got the belt. I don't think he's calling out anybody from a different weight class, so that's a refreshing thing. It seems like everybody who has a belt wants to fight somebody in a different weight class. I don't know. Has Pantoja fought Kai Kara France yet?
I do not think so. No.
I think that would be a
Kai Kara France.
yeah.
Kai Kara France number 4, and it's a fresh matchup because he faced Roval. I think they probably want to do the Albazi fight next, though, right?
Yeah, probably if they haven't fought yet. I'm not sure if they fought yet or not.
They have not fought yet.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to do Albazi or Kai Kara France.
And I say him and Kai Kara France fought on the Ultimate Fighter in an exhibition, but that doesn't count. So that'd be fun to see them actually do a full 3-round fight. But I mean, you probably want to wait to run Moreno back because he's already beaten him twice. So I feel like you should spread them out, have him do Albazi and then Kai Kara France, and then maybe you could circle back to a third Brandon Moreno fight.
Yeah.
Steve, I don't know what you think about it.
I would say that because Moreno said he was going to take a little vacation. So
when was the last time he fought? He lost against Royval, split decision. Man, that was recent too. I remember watching that fight actually, because Royval was coming off that loss. Man, that's tough for Moreno. But flyweight, I mean, they got a lot of good fighters. Don't get me wrong, but as far as star power, to main event like a fight night or co-main event, I think Moreno's still pretty marketable, but he's lost 2. So how could you sell that? He'd have to get a few wins. What's Alex Perez doing? Maybe Moreno could face like an Alex Perez.
Yeah.
Get back on the wagon. I don't know. So I guess if once they set up another fight for Pantoja that y'all think it should be featured on like a co-main event or?
Yeah, unless they got something planned lined up to go back to Brazil. Keep him on ice for another Brazil card if they got something coming up. Other than that, I think you kind of have to do kind of a fight night, or you have to tie it to another main event belt fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think they have that card, and it's always the October card where they go to the Middle East usually. Maybe save them for that. I think this is the first year that they're gonna be in Saudi Arabia because they usually do like Abu Dhabi.
Right.
So maybe you save them for that, or maybe stack that New York card, have them like even be like the third fight if you just stack like 3 title fights. Maybe John Jones will be ready by then. And then what's going on with Israel Adesanya? Was he serious about not coming back till 2027? That's what he said.
Yeah, I think he's kind of out of the equation right now.
And they just set up that fight for your boy Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. So I think that's supposed to be on 302 or 303. Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa.
That one is 302 coming up June.
That's next month.
June 1st.
Man, that's less than a month then.
Yeah, there's a lot of good fights coming up. You got 302 Makhachev versus Poirier, which a lot of people are thinking that's Poirier's retirement fight. Strickland Costa.
Even if he wins, that'd be his retirement fight.
Yeah, he said that he's done a lot of the sport, so he's not sure if he's going to retire or not. That's 2 big fights on that. Other than that, I mean, there's some okay names on that card, but it's not like a fully stacked card.
You got Mickey Gall. He beat CM Punk.
Got the CM Punk kryptonite.
You got Almeida. He ran into that roadblock when he lost. Like you said, there's not a lot of name value on this fight. But they know they're selling these arenas out. They're going to be in New Jersey, and they feel like they could just put anything underneath those 2 co-main events. You have a lot of crazy Strickland fans out there. So, I mean, I'll be watching, but it's not giving me a lot of incentive to actually pay for it.
Right.
Hopefully the Fed ain't listening.
Yeah, then you got 303 coming up with McGregor Chandler. It's got some decent fights on it. That's the one that Jamal Hill's going to be on. It's got the Karate Hottie on it. A couple decent fights on that card. We're kind of like hitting a good little streak of cards here between those 2 UFC wins. We got a lot of good boxing coming up. Tank Davis is fighting in June.
Mike Tyson in July.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's fighting. John Jones tweeted, I have a date. I'm waiting on Dana to announce it. So I would expect at UFC 302 or 303, they're going to announce John Jones's return.
It's probably going to be Madison Square Garden. Man, he hasn't fought in a year and a half, March of 2023. So that's a long layoff. I guess who, though? That's the big thing. Are they still gunning for him and Stipe, or are they just moving on and going to the big English boy?
Man, I mean, I don't know what you do, because the fight everybody wants is Stipe, but Aspinall is the interim. So you're supposed to make the real champ versus the fake champ. I don't know how you kind of balance that out, but a lot of people have forgot about Stipe. I mean, I think Tom Aspinall's kept his name out there and relevant enough that I think the majority of people might want to see Aspinall.
Hot take. Stipe may, even though Stipe had a long layoff, he may do better than Aspinall. What if Aspinall, he's never headlined something like that, like a deer in headlights, and just gets mauled like the French guy got mauled?
I don't know, man.
Cyril Gahn.
Tom Aspinall looks really good. I mean, he didn't, he went against, Sergey and knocked him out. He looks really good in there. He's really light on his feet. Most of his wins are, all of his wins have been finishes. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what side do you lean on? To me, I think if you put a gun to my head, I think I'd say I want to see the Aspinall fight.
Yeah, I mean, just off of, because I was just kidding. I don't know how Steve's going to look. He's 40. It could go either way. But off a pure competition standpoint, yeah, the Aspinall fight. But I feel like I think John Jones may have gotten to sit back and reflect, and maybe he wants to do more than just one more fight, especially that he lost the Ngannou fight. So I just like to see him run both if he can.
Dude,
and out the way and then do Aspinall next year.
But I mean, I think one of the bigger fights that we haven't even mentioned though is John Jones versus Pereira.
Nah, I don't think that was fair too well for Pereira. John Jones, even though he likes to beat people's game, I don't think he's gonna sit there and just give y'all a kickboxing match against Pereira.
Right. Yeah, I think I think that would be Jones's easiest fight because he could just take him down and just kind of do whatever he wants. But I think that is a fight that they will try to make eventually.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think it would happen at heavyweight. I don't think Jones is going back down to light heavyweight for that.
No, Pierre wants to go up and get the third belt.
I would rather see a Cyril Gahn and a Pierre.
Cyril Gahn and Pierre?
Yeah.
I know
regular
heavyweight fight.
I know he's gonna want a championship fight, but if he were to dabble into heavyweight, I can see a Cyril Gahn and Pierre fight. With John Jones, that's just in Pierre, that's just gonna be John Jones and Cyril Gahn again.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, Pierre, I think he may have better skills on the ground because of Glover but I mean, John Jones he's heavyweight, and he already had that strength in light heavyweight to where it's like, damn, everybody was struggling with John Jones' strength like he was a heavyweight. So I don't think anybody can handle him in heavyweight. Took Cyril Gahn down easily, and he's a big boy. So
but you don't think that Pereira's striking is on a slightly higher level than Cyril Gahn?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think that's not gonna matter. All John Jones got to do is duck under. Cyril Gahn did, and whoop, it's one mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm never picking against John Jones until I see him lose finally. But until that day happens, I'm gonna pick him going into the fight. But that's interesting. I didn't know that he was ready to announce it, Amari. That's a good piece of news right there. But that'll take us to the end of the show. And I think I might want to do, I don't know if it's going to be a full-on show or a quickie episode, but we got UFC in all of our resident states. We all reside in Missouri. It's going to be in Missouri next weekend, and I'm going to be at the fight. So do some on-site reporting from it, and it should be a good time, even though, it's not the most notable fighters on there, but somebody everybody knows. Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, is headlining this one against Rodrigo Nascimento. And then you also have Joaquin Buckley. The hardcore fans know about Buckley, how he gets down against Ruzabov. And then you got Alonzo Menafield. He's been in there for a while. You got Bruce Leroy. So it should be
Leroy. Hell yeah.
And you got Chase Hooper. He's a young kid. And Terrence McKinney. He's a nice striker. He's on the prelim. So I'm sure if I go back and look at where he's from, I bet a lot of these people are from Missouri. That's probably why they wanted to get on this card. So
wonder why they didn't get Tim Elliott on the card. He fights every Missouri card.
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe he just fought and is not available. But like I said, I'm gonna be there and doing some on-site reporting, and we'll figure out something for the show. But I know we don't usually do predictions for these fight night cards, but who y'all got in the main event? Y'all got Lewis or Nascimento?
I'll never bet against Derek Lewis unless he's going against somebody like Jones or something like that. I mean, because we've seen him make the comeback wins and just do it all. And I mean, he's a fan favorite. So I'm rocking with Lewis all the time.
Okay. Who you got, Steve?
I'm going with Lewis. He needs to get them wins back up.
Looks like Nascimento is a jiu-jitsu guy. He's got some submission wins. So I don't know, man. It could go either way with he's only a purple belt though, but you know, that doesn't mean anything. He's with ATT. I don't know, man. I don't really have faith in Lewis nowadays, but I'm with y'all. I'll just pick him just for the nostalgia pick. I feel like he'll bounce back maybe, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be a lively crowd. I think this is only their second time in St. Louis. I think they went back once back in 2018 or 2017, something like that. So the tickets aren't cheap. I already looked at them, so I'll probably wait till the day of and see if they drop a little bit. But it'll be a fun weekend. But that takes us to the end of the show. Make sure to follow us on all the social media. Make sure to follow the audio on Spotify and Apple, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube. But that'll do it for us here at Haymaker Combat Sports. Until next time, be safe out there. Later.
Hit the takedown, ground and pound, that was from the top. Heel hooking on one platter, leave you in the knot. Pound for pound, been the greatest. Sitting on the top, and I'm laughing at the fools who think they